I want to ask you, Speaker, heading into the next election cycle, do you have any anxiety at all about any of the stuff we're talking about or anything that we're not talking about impacting your ability to hold control of the House in 2020?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Our first responsibility is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Well, I hear you.
Really, Nancy? Really? You know what, guys? I think this means it's time for another...
It's time for the 3-minute takedown.
Today, we'll be taking down old House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. That's right, Pelosi decided to attend a little festival called the Texas Tribune Festival in Austin this weekend, where she defended her decision to impeach the president. But not only that, she actually managed to declare that she doesn't care if the Democrats lose the majority in the House, which, by the way, would most likely mean that they're also going to lose the presidency in 2020. But hey, Pelosi says, to heck with the House, to heck with the presidency. All we need is to impeach the president. Well, Nancy, a little history lesson for you. In reality, no one has ever managed to successfully impeach a U.S. president without massive political consequences against the party that impeached them. Just look back at people like Andrew Jackson or Bill Clinton. Both of them saw huge waves of support coming from their own party when the opposing party tried to impeach them. But Nancy apparently thinks, hey, whatever, it's our constitutional duty to impeach the president. And according to her, and she actually said this during the same conference, she thinks that Russia may have a hand in it. She thinks that old Russia, old Vladimir Putin, the guy who Mueller spent years investigating to see if he had any role in Trump's campaign or in his presidency, Pelosi thinks, well, Ukraine's next to Russia and Russia doesn't like Ukraine, so it sounds to me like Russia must be controlling Trump again. Is that really what we're going to go back to, guys? Are we really going to go back to the Russian narrative? Let's lay it out. The reality is the Russian narrative failed. Mueller didn't find anything. He searched for months. All that came up is that people like Fusion GPS, who was hired out by the DNC to collect the dirty dossier, Christopher Steele, the British spy who they were using to do it. The FBI actually determined that Christopher Steele and his dossier were not reliable sources, and yet they still opened an investigation into them. Then when President Trump fired Jim Comey, a guy that nobody really wanted up there anyways, and they used that to justify hiring on Robert Mueller to investigate the whole Russian collusion narrative, without bothering to mention the fact that Jim Comey and Robert Mueller were very close friends, and Jim Comey actually considered Mueller to be his mentor. That's what we're getting back into. Pelosi thinks it's time to reopen that investigation. But you know what? Maybe it's time to look into that whole Hunter Biden business deal in the Ukraine. It seems really suspicious that Joe Biden would threaten the Ukrainian president with $1 billion in foreign aid funding unless he fired the prosecutor who was looking into his son's company at the time. That seems worthwhile investigating to me. That's what President Trump's looking to investigate. If you guys agree, go on ahead and sound off in the comments. Again, this is Ben Goldman with your 3-minute takedown, and you can follow me at www.penmediainc.com. You can also find me on facebook.com/Ben Goldman Show or on Twitter at RealDannyGold. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and looking to bring in you a whole nother 3-minute takedown.